Hey, happy Wednesday, everybody. How's it going? Glad to see you all here. Glad to see your smiling faces. I've been to spin a couple times this week. I've really been I've been good about it. Like changing things, like long-standing patterns can take, your mental block with that can be that, oh, it takes a long time for you to change your habits or whatever. But I think that's just like part of the false beliefs and programming. So, anyways, I feel like honestly, like this last few weeks, I feel like $1,000,000 compared to where I was even a month ago with the physical stuff. So just feels so good to like I've been waking up early in the morning and never been really much of a morning person, but I'm somehow doing it, and it's actually helping me out a lot. Anyways, been super busy with music stuff. It's been great to see how busy everybody's been in the group. All the songs, we just opened up the submission link, so please do submit your finished songs for the third song on your EP. Looking forward to hearing those. And we're here, office hours, Wednesday morning, afternoon, whatever time it is over there for you. Here to answer any and all questions you got for an hour and a half here. So fire away. I see you there, Lois. What's up?
Right. I sort of answered my question about submitting. I finally got two songs ready. Well, what I wanted to ask is, I've recorded and they've been mixed. I'm happy with the mix, but just in case there's anything else, they don't have to be finalized to put them in?
It's fine if what we're looking for are songs that are more or less finished. But if you're on like the final stages of things, that's obviously fine. But what we just don't want is like work tape quality stuff, like demo quality stuff, like songs that are pretty much done. That's what we're looking for at this stage. Yeah.
Okay, well, that's fine. I'm doing the next two songs next week, so hopefully I'll be all on target. So the link is where? Up on Facebook?
Yeah, so I posted it. Facebook's being weird. It wasn't letting me yesterday create anything as an announcement. So I wasn't able to tag it as an announcement. But if you just search for my name, it should pop up. If you just search for anything that I post, it should show the most recent stuff, and that was like the most recent thing that I've posted to the group. So yeah.
Sounds great. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. Looking forward to hearing it. What's up, Anthony?
Hey, what's up? I just woke up from a nap, so I'm like kind of in the twilight zone right now. But how's everything going? Everything good? Got your coffee?
I'm good, man. Yeah, I was saying, I don't know if you probably missed the part where I'm talking about like I've just been doing spin early in the mornings. Actually driving like the other part of town, like driving for about like an hour and a half to just get out to this, because there was a friend of mine who I could be kind of accountable with on it. And it really helps me to be accountable on things, especially things that I'm kind of stubborn about, like the whole exercise thing. But it's been great. I'm actually fairly confident that when the first month is over, I'm going to just like sign up to a spin place that's like really close to here, and I can just jet over. Cause I love it. Like, I never thought I'd like spin, but it's fun. I got strong legs. So but I've been feeling like this jolt of kind of energy, especially in the mornings around, and just waking up earlier, kind of early bird gets the worm kind of vibe with everything. It's been really good. And I've just been really busy with music stuff. It's been really fun. And it's been really great to see just how everybody's doing with like everybody's submitting stuff, how everybody's getting ready to submit their next song. And it's been a lot of fun to watch that too. You got any questions?
I woke up this morning and worked out too. I mean, it's so cool. It's so like just to, cause I like to work out and just to get it done with in the very first part of the day, and it just like starts you out just in such a good way, doesn't it?
That's what my manager does. He literally just, it's the first thing he does when he wakes up. He just gets up. He's got like he does his stuff at home. He's just got like a treadmill, and he does the treadmill thing for a little while. And, he actually made it like last year, it was a goal for him to do it like on 50% of the days. And, I definitely noticed a difference with him, just kind of like just his physical stature and his just his energy level seemed like higher than it was previously. And I'm kind of experiencing that a little bit myself. So it's kind of fun.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. It is. It's such a great way to start the day. So I have a hypothetical. Okay, so the situation I'm in, I just kind of wanted to know sort of, this is kind of a business question of like how it works. So you've got two BMI writers. I'm co-writing with somebody. The other guy has a publishing company. I don't. Let's say we land something, and where does who does the company write the check to? Like, how does that work?
Well, you're saying publishing company. You're not saying he has a publishing deal. You're saying he just has a publishing company set up, registered with his PRO.
Right.
Okay. Well, when a placement happens, how like basically the fee works and how that gets distributed.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's basically distributed based off of the master ownership and also based off of the publishing share as well. Typically, it's split up in half between the kind of the master owners and then the people who actually own the publishing. So at least for Master Sync stuff. And then back end, it's all like, just split up amongst the writing and the publishing, if there is back end on it.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I was going to say, if there's like an agent of some kind that's like facilitated getting the placement, then what typically happens is that the agent or the agency takes out whatever their portion is of whatever deal you work out with them. Say it could be anywhere between like 10% to 50%. And, depending on like what that cut is, they would take that out before anything is dispersed. And then like basically it would apply whatever splits you have with your other stakeholders.
Okay. So if everything between us is 50%, then it would be half would be written to one person and half would be written to the other person. Is that kind of how it works?
As long as they were both, you were 50-50 on the publishing side as well. If you're 50-50 master and 50-50 publishing, then it would be 50-50.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Even if I don't have a publishing company, I would still.
Even if you don't have a company, I mean, if you're with BMI, you don't need to necessarily register as a publisher, but I would suggest doing it at some point because there's going to be certain types of deals that legally won't be possible for you because you don't have a separate legal entity for your publishing. I'm not sure what PRO you're with, but ASCAP does not do that though. ASCAP requires you to have a publisher set up with them. So, but it's really easy. All you do is just follow through the entire process with ASCAP as a publisher, and it's then it's really easy. And then the checks, as far as like the money that comes in, the Master Sync stuff, it's usually just done to the name of the person who has. This is where it can get a little funky from a tax perspective. Some of the agencies don't like sending more than one check out, so sometimes you'll have to split a check with somebody. They'll send you the full amount, and then you got to split it, which is kind of a drag from like a tax purpose. But I've also had situations where they're totally amicable to sending you separate checks. Yep, just depends on the production company and the agency. That the production companies usually don't mind it at all, but it's also advantageous. Like if you have like 5 writers on it, or if you have 5 master owners on it, that's where it gets really kind of murky because then they might have to send out like 5 different checks, and it could be a super pain. So that's why they always prefer to have like one point person.
So is the master owner the guy who produces the track?
Not necessarily. The master owner is like, however you're negotiating whatever deal you strike with a producer, part of the negotiation is like what's the master, like who owns the master. So yeah, but not necessarily, though most frequently the producer will have a cut on the master. For me anyways, when I produce stuff, it's going to be a substantial buyout for me if I'm like giving up all the master because, I'm mostly working on tracks that I think have a good shot at landing a placement, and I'd like to be in on the action when that comes in. So, if somebody wants to buy me out for that, I'm open to it, but they'll have to pay more to own the master outright. And most producers work that way.
They pay more up front than in the back end. If you're not getting into the back end, then you're going to pay more up front, kind of that, like that.
Yeah, well, it also depends on the producer. You know, some producers, they prefer to just make songs and they don't really care about the mastering stuff. Although I think that time is like has kind of sailed a little bit because everybody sees how like lucrative it can be. So like I was saying, it's like if somebody wants me to produce a track and they want to own the master outright and me not own any of it, they're going to pay more than if I'm still like a partial owner of the master.
Right.
And that a lot of producers, they'll work that way.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. All right. Thanks, man. Get that spin class. Get that spin class going.
Oh yeah. Well, it's going. It's been going. I went twice last week, twice this week. I'm trying to go three times the week before that. So it's definitely working.
It's a good workout for sure.
Yeah. And I've already, I mean, it in conjunction with like, curtailing like my late night eating, I've already dropped like one pant size. So it's like, it makes a difference. So, and not that really matters too much, but I just feel better. So yeah, that's like the whole goal of this. But thanks, man. Thanks for the questions. All right. Hey, Andrea.
Hey.
How's it going?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm good. Good.
Yay. It's the first time I got to talk on office hours, so I'm super excited.
Oh,
yeah. Toast. I have two questions. One is about a quick one about the CTM brief songs that you put out.
Yeah.
And I'm just wondering if there's more brief like playlists that you're going to put together, or does it change? How often does it change? Can we use the briefs of other like heavy hitters or something? Is that still applicable? Do people's playlists obviously get stale at one point, but like how long should you look to someone's playlist as being accurate?
Sure. Well, you know, I mean, I would just look to see, I mean, you could even start your own. I mean, the thing is, if you can just go on the iTunes, what is it, like iSpot TV, and just start like, tracking what songs they're using and put them in a Spotify playlist, and you're already like kind of starting to put your pulse on like what the big shots are using.
Right.
But yeah, you know, what I do is I typically like, I'll start, I haven't been like super consistent about it. I'd love to be more consistent about it, but just like every time we get a brief, throwing the songs into a playlist, it's fun, you know, like just getting, I think it's helpful to know what is getting used, and just kind of, if you don't really listen to music that's getting used all the time, it's part of the ear training that needs to happen.
Right.
So it's I would say like it's something that I'm trying to, actually I got one this morning that I'm probably going to throw a bunch of songs in there from, that's pretty good. So actually we could even like spin a couple of the songs off this playlist during office hours if we want.
Nice.
Could be fun. Yeah. So I don't know if does that answer your question? I can't even remember what the question was.
Well, it was sort of like about just how long, so your CTM brief songs, how many months do you think that's going to be good for? Like that you'll want those type of songs, like, or a year, like a year or half a year?
The way it works is like, you know, if it's modern now, it's probably going to be, unless it's like a real flavor of the month, like that whole, that Portugal the Man song with a real like kind of out there kind of thing. It was just a very weird song, and that it really quite, I mean, people are still looking for that, but there were a bunch of people who made songs for that, including myself. Actually, Sam and I made a song for that, and it's been very successful, but it's a very niche kind of sound, and it kind of like ran a little bit against the grain. I wouldn't suggest making a bunch of songs in that style, and that song's been around for
it's been a while.
Yeah. So it's like things are always changing, but I mean, you know, you just look at all the stuff that won Grammy Awards, and there are going to be tons of producers that are watching that stuff and seeing the awards, and there's even going to be more like Billie Eilish kind of kind of stuff. But the way that trickles down is that, you know, all of these ad execs and all of the execs at these production companies, they watch the Grammys. They're like, oh, that artist's cool. Some of them, they're maybe like it turned on to different artists like later on in the process. So it tends to like, you know, I've had a lot of people tell me that like the taste of like the industry itself, in terms of like what happens in sync, a little bit behind the times. So
Okay.
in a way, you're going to have a little bit more time, but there will, as with all this stuff, I mean, not to say they aren't still looking for like Black Keys kind of sounding stuff, but there was a phase where that's what everybody was looking for. And everybody was making that. And if you tried to make stuff like that now, there'd probably be a market for it, but it's also, there's already so much saturation. So I would say you're always kind of looking for like where things are heading, and try to make tracks that are kind of at that place, or like in even
Just a bit ahead.
some other direction. Try to find some interesting angle on it. It's tough, but it's just kind of how the music industry works. Yeah, so it's like there's no real clear-cut answer with that, but I think like listening to stuff from like the last year will definitely, if you're continually like refreshing that, and you're listening to that, you're going to be certainly your taste in music and your taste when it comes to writing and things, it's going to change.
Okay.
Right for the yeah.
Oh, okay. Thank you. That helps a lot. Just to make sure. That's what I thought.
Yeah.
But just entrenched in my brain. My second question was about a song that I've submitted for Jennifer Yucca that she listened to, and she really loved the chorus, the Porch Light song.
Yeah.
And chorus, and then she said the beginning part, redo it. And so the thing is that the producer I used, it was a demo for a grant. So the producer I used since has a manager, and it's a lot more money now, like a lot. But the thing is that the way she produced the chorus, it's like, I'm like, but I want it to be exactly sort of like that, because I think that that's what made it so good. And in fact, I actually quoted my reference with the man on that song, ironically, just not without even knowing about sync at the time. But I was just doing it in the future. And anyway, so I guess my thing is that, should I try and get another producer for cheaper and then hope they can do it, or should I just wait, save up the money, and do it with the same producer, because that's the one who really captured the song the way I think that would be marketable?
I would suggest if you really liked the direction that the producer took, it'd probably be better to work with the same producer.
But if they want like a lot of money, like what do you like? I don't think they're not taking they're not keeping the master.
Yeah, so
I'd have the master.
Sounds like what's happening. Oh, they're not keeping the master at all?
I don't think so. No, at least in Canada, usually when you pay for it, you get your master.
Yeah, I know that Canadian artists tend to have that kind of
concept.
That's just kind of like what they assume a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Work with quite a few Canadian folks, and so does my manager, and so the guy across the hall from us. But like it's like with any artist, it's a negotiating point. Especially it's just been something that's happened over the last 5 years. It's just become a conversation, even with artists that are in other countries and stuff like that. But I would say you just have to weigh the pros and cons. But if they're getting the kind of sound that really works with you, sure, you could try to find somebody who's a lot cheaper to execute something different. But I could make three
songs, good songs.
Well, I don't know. It sounds like the producer is very expensive now.
Yeah, that's what happened. Like,
all right. Well, I mean, you never know.
I don't know.
Yeah. Well,
but if you were maybe because you heard it, and I'm just wondering that like, is it silly to gamble on it? Because it feels like a gamble. Like, bring in the song, and I get this producer, and then what if it doesn't get synced?
Well, here's the thing. Like, I'm thinking, like, if you're saying it would cost like the amount to like have 3 full songs produced with different producers, like you could literally just take a shot with a new producer and you might end up liking that overall. They would have like the original version that you have to kind of listen to and try to nail the vibe of. So I don't know. It sounds now that you're like, I think I've kind of been talked into like having the opinion that it might be better to take a shot with another producer if it's going to be that much cheaper.
Okay.
If it's going to be that much, if it's going to be that expensive just to open it up and kind of redo
3,000 Canadian.
Okay.
It's does that seem like a lot or?
It just depends, it really doesn't sound like too much for like what, as far as like indie producers, like who are good in LA.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
like, that's certainly in the ballpark.
So it's not crazy.
Like, no, it's not crazy. I mean, I would
Okay,
honestly,
good.
like 3 or 4 times more than that is not crazy
Mm-hmm.
for like, somebody who's like an artist that has like a real following going on and is like, has like
Yeah, that's different.
a lot going on, but it's a different game. And obviously you're going to have different
Yeah.
budget when that's in play. But,
Yeah.
but I think as far as like indie productions, that's certainly like in the ballpark of what, you would.
What's going on?
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, I suppose like, some of the folks in Canada, they probably know what the marketplace is here. And it just sounds like very, very similar to some of the budgets that I,
Yeah.
am familiar with,
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Yeah, it
Well,
doesn't sound totally out of the ballpark, but I think that like, it does sound like quite a bit for like cracking the song open and kind of re-exploring a couple different things. It sounds like they're almost charging you for a completely new song. So I don't know, maybe you can negotiate with them some more.
yeah, I don't think that's going to work. It's just like, that's the fee.
Yeah. Well,
It's
I mean,
okay. I just,
maybe they've blown up they could have blown up in some kind of way and they're
oh
just,
no, she has. She's like,
that's
she's
something to
major,
consider
so-
too, is that like, if she's doing
yeah.
your songs, then, you're going to capture some of that mojo too. And,
Yeah.
it's just one of those things where,
If I had the money, I would be doing it like in a second. Like, I mean, I'm just trying to make myself feel. Okay, thanks
it
for
might
so
be
much
better
for.
to save up. I think it might be better to save up. I don't really have an answer for you, but,
Yeah.
unfortunately, but
One more question:
yeah. What's up?
as a producer, sorry to take so long. One thing, as a producer, if you produce a demo and you give it a certain kind of flavorings and stuff, is it like, do you feel like you've been ripped off if the next person gets you cheaper but copies exactly what you did and then just changed a couple of things like they basically did, but you didn't do it, but it was all your ideas?
I don't have any ego about this. I've had projects where like people have hired me for different things, and then they take an idea that I bring to the project and then they run with it with somebody else. Or, for me, it's not a personal thing. I would never like
Right.
upset about that, because at the
Okay.
end of the day, I negotiate deals that are fair they're fair for me. So like
Yeah.
at any stage somebody can peace out and it's fine. Like it's not gonna
Gotcha.
hurt my feelings, but not all producers.
Okay, that's what I wanted to know. It's not like a right. I know. I think she'd be okay. I just
Yeah, not all
right.
producers are
Thank
that
you.
way, but she should be understanding that, like, if it's not within your budget, you need to like get a version of the song done.
Yep.
It's
Okay.
it's what it is.
All right.
Yeah.
That helps a lot. Okay. Thank you
Great.
so much.
Oh, you're welcome. So welcome.
Okay.
Hey Ben, what's up, man?
Hello, can you hear me?
I sure can, man.
I'm good, man. How are you?
Oh, fantastic. Yeah.
Nice to see the hat back in action.
Back, yeah. I realized that it's been a couple weeks since I wore this thing, so I gotta get this break it in a little bit more.
Good one. So, got a couple of questions. First of all, so I'm someone who hasn't made any of the deadlines so far,
Mhm.
and I've just heard some mixed messaging about whether it's okay for us to submit a couple of songs for, say, this deadline if we haven't done any before. Is that all good?
Oh, it's fine. Yeah, it's fine to
Yep.
submit. Yeah, you can do that. Just if it's something that you've submitted, what I'm saying is if you haven't submitted, if you submitted a song that was like your first song for the EP, don't send an updated version of it.
Yeah, sure.
You can
Sure.
send that at the end of the course. But like, it's mostly like if you want to send a song and you want to send 2 songs you haven't sent any in, that's okay.
Cool. Well, I've got 2 that I've been sort of working on that are pretty much ready to go.
Okay.
And then Fiona Foreman's been producing one that we co-wrote, so she might end up sending that. So you might end up with 3 with me as the main vocal, but that's all good still.
That's okay. Yeah. I mean, if there's somebody in the course who, if 2 people are involved in it, just have one of you send it. Like,
Yeah. I'll send 2 other ones, and she might send that one.
That's
Cool.
fine.
Awesome.
Yeah, we're just asking that they not be like work tapes or like really rough.
Yeah,
demos.
yeah.
They have to be like realized ideas.
Yeah. Awesome. Cool. Second thing, I'm super pumped. I'm like 48 hours away from getting on a plane to come over and see you all at Sync Keepers. So there's a couple of catch-ups organized already. Cass is doing a thing on the Saturday at Hotel Cafe. Christine is organizing something on the Friday night. But, you know, there was talk about a Death Star tour. So I'm just wondering if...
Yeah, so what I was thinking, so just so everybody knows, for Sync Keepers, I know that there's a couple people that are making plans to do stuff that evening. One thing that we're going to have a couple very special musical guests on the 6th that are just killing it in sync, and they both tend to have. Actually, I can't remember what night both of them are playing at Hotel Cafe, but it might be the 6th, it might be the 7th. I think it's the 6th. Let me just check. Hotel Cafe schedule. Hotel Cafe, for anybody who doesn't know, is like a really hot place for hearing really great. Tends to be like singer-songwriter type music, but it's just a lot of folks that are a lot of up and coming. Like it's kind of the hot spot for anybody who's kind of an up and coming singer-songwriter. Let's see. So it's actually the 6th. We're going to really strongly encourage people to go to Hotel Cafe on the 6th because Distant Cousins plays at 8 o'clock and the Rescues play at 9 o'clock. And they are amazing. Like you'll be astonished when you hear them live at the venue that we're playing at the conference. But the full band version of those are going to be like off the charts. Like I've seen the Rescues live and they brought me to tears. Like they're so good. The drummer in that band is like an amazing producer. Her name's AG. She goes by AG. Yeah, so that's like the thing on the 6th that we're suggesting people go to. And then as far as like a tour of the Death Star, I actually don't have anything scheduled for Friday evening, and I was thinking I may do that on Friday evening, but I'm gonna have to figure that out. Like that would probably be the time that would make the most sense to do it. Would be on the Friday evening.
Cool.
For me. Yep.
Well, I'm also keen if anybody's planning anything to catch up on the night before, on the Wednesday night. So let's make something happen.
Awesome. Yeah. Love it that everybody's like coordinating these meetups and everything like that. I'm going to be in the studio on the Wednesday night. Yeah, I'm actually going to be, for anybody who knows Chris Bradley, her and I are going to be doing some work together earlier in the week. And that should be super fun. And I'm just really looking forward to it. Y'all have no idea what it's going to be. A little crazy. It's going to be a lot of information. It's going to be really fun. Y'all get the chance to meet each other in person. I can't wait to give you a high five or give you a hug and just connect. And it's going to be just great.
Yeah, cool. I'm also I'm volunteering some time for the Guild of Music Supervisors Awards during the day on the 5th. So I think they're still looking for people if anybody else wants to get in on that. So
nice.
Suss that out. Cool, man. Well, look forward to meeting you in person in a very short amount of time.
Great.
Thanks.
Awesome. Have a great rest of your day, man.
Cheers.
Hey, Nicole, what's up?
Hey. Hi, John. First of all, thank you everyone for helping me learn how to raise my hand. I'm a slow learner, but I've got it. I'm so excited. So I have a dream producer from a list that you put up, John, some time back, who I actually had known before the class, always have admired his work. And I just want to see what's an appropriate amount of time to let him sit with my work tapes before I follow up with him, because I know he's a busy person, but of course I want to get everything recorded and turned into you guys by the deadline. So it's been, I don't know, like 5 days. Should I give him like 2 more days, or should I bug him today? I don't know what's appropriate.
Oh, as far as like follow up, like you sent did you get like a rapport going for sending the work tapes?
And we sort of came up with he gave me a price that I was able to do. And he said he would get back to me after the weekend. And I just don't want to bug him, but at the same time, I'm really nervous because we're
yeah. Well, you know, after the weekend, sometimes I know how busy it can get sometimes as a producer. So, you know, it might have been a little busier than they were anticipating. I mean, you could just hit them up. I mean, I don't think it's going to be a big deal. You could say like, hey, just checking in again. See if you had the chance to take a listen to the work tapes. Sometimes just a little nudge is helpful. Because sometimes I'll even have like an email that's sitting in the bottom of my email box. And I really pride myself on like cleaning it out and having it like really neat, but not everybody's that way. And so sometimes like things can kind of get out of people's attention a little bit. I would just suggest like hitting them up, you know, but not like, you know, just casually say, hey, did you get a chance to take a listen to him yet? I'm really excited to get started with this or something like that. I don't know. I would just like say something like that and you're going to be fine.
That tiny voice inside that's like, oh God, what if he hates the work tapes, you know, but anyway.
If he hates the work tapes, honestly, like the thing I've learned with all that is like, if this is like a weird story, but it's like, I like to tell it because it's like, you can't take things personally. It's like, I think that this is like worst case scenario is like, you know, you think about like when you were a kid and you're riding around on a tricycle and like you ride up to your friends and you're like, hey, you want to ride tricycles together? And they say like, no, you're not going to like sit there and cry about it. You're just going to like start riding your tricycle another way. You know, like kids don't take that kind of stuff personally at all. Like, but like as adults, we're like, oh, you don't want to work with me? Oh, it sucks. Therefore X, and X, all of which are false. And like, you know, it's really just, at the end of the day, like if the situation is meant to work out, it's going to work out. And if not, for me anyways, I feel like those situations are just like the universe's way of just redirecting you to where you need to go. So if you come into the process with that energy, you're going to be invincible. You know, you're not going to like be affected by it. And I'm sure you can find somebody else to work on it if they decide for whatever reason it's not what they're going to work on like right now. So I just don't bring that into it.
Oh yeah, no. Again, that was this little negative voice, but I think it's probably fine. But I did want to make sure that I wasn't, you know, being too in his face or whatever. I have one more very quick question. I mentioned this to Kathy on Sunday. I got involved with producing a co-write, which I actually didn't. I had to get a master out of Hawk, and I had to make a decision whether or not to pay $200. That was kind of an unfair price in order to settle up a debt for somebody else. And I went ahead and I did it, but I'm still nervous that the master might be encumbered. And I was wondering if I should just take like a boilerplate contract and email it and just ask the guy to sign it saying, you know, being the engineer, you know, I released this master and I don't claim any right to it.
Oh, okay. I mean, what does that mean that like you didn't have any paperwork saying, determining like what the...
It's too stupid. I'm too embarrassed to even tell you. I mean, it has to do with trading a leather chair in exchange for recording a bunch of songs and then pocketed some money from my boyfriend and didn't pass it on to the engineer. I mean, it's...
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, it probably wouldn't hurt to have that in writing, but I would say that like, I mean, have you already paid the 200?
I thought about it all week and I finally just paid the 200.
Okay. I mean, I would say that probably your leverage for getting them to sign something was probably greater before you sent the payment, but I mean, it couldn't hurt to try. But you know, you have to weigh that with like, is it really worth, I think with situations like this, where there's like drama involved and everything like that, sometimes it's best to just, is this serving like where you're going now?
I know, I'll never do it again, but honestly, I really wanted these vocal stems.
Okay.
I just really wanted a shot with it, but is there a boilerplate in existence for something like that?
I can't think of, I mean, I don't have one handy for a situation like that. But I bet if you asked around or asked a I imagine a music lawyer probably wouldn't cost too much to get something like that drawn up. The thing is, it's just going to cost money to have something that's kind of airtight. So, I mean, I don't know. I don't have an easy answer for that. A lot of the deals that I have, I mean, I do quite a few contracts, but I don't do contracts on everything. I work with a lot of people that I really trust and who have been in the sync industry for a long time and I know would never come after me for certain things. And besides, I have like email chains and everything like that. Kind of spelled out. So, you know, I'm not really familiar with these types of situations so much. I think if I were to go back into like my past and try to like secure certain paperwork or things like that, there might be some drama that might be difficult for me to figure out. And then I'd have to like get actual contracts and send them over and stuff like that. But I don't really pitch those songs either. So, I don't know. I don't really know how best to advise you, but I would suggest if you have like if there's like a legal issue and you're asking for like a contract template or something like that, I mean, I would just start looking online and I would start maybe going to some Facebook groups where there are a lot of like music creators, producers, you know, things like that. I mean, something that I thought of off the top of my head would maybe be even like the Make Pop Music group, because that group is just an amazing resource. Maybe just join that and ask. Oh, okay. That might be a good question to pose because there are some heavy hitters in that group and they'd probably be able to advise you. That would probably be a good place to post that.
Thank you. Okay.
Yeah, you bet.
Sound.
John, you're muted.
I must have muted myself. Hey, Chandra, what's up? Sorry about that.
Hey, John. It's so good to talk to you.
No, my bad. Hang on a sec. I got to decline
Okay,
it.
I
No.
thought it was you for a minute.
No, it was mine.
Right now, I'm asking you a question finally, and I'm getting a phone call. No.
Sorry about that.
First of all, thank you so much for everything. I have learned so much on this program, and I really appreciate it. And I do have a couple of questions.
Yeah.
I've got a song that's getting a lot of attention. Oh, first of all, I want to let you know that I am collaborating on 2 different songs right now. It doesn't look like I'm going to get it in on the deadline simply because my engineer, the guy that I work with, is no longer doing it. It's like a big shock. I just found out like 2 days ago. So it's a huge shock, you know. And also I want you to know that I did submit a bunch of songs to different people, and one person sent an agreement to actually send stuff. So I was thrilled. That's the first time I've ever done that. So thank you, because none of that would have ever happened taking this course. And I really, so thank you. And I'm coming to Sim Keeper, so I'm excited. Anyway, here's my situation. One of my songs has gotten a lot of attention. I've sent it out, and it doesn't seem to be in the theme of what people are looking for. But nonetheless, I did the recording in the end of 17 and the beginning of 18. And I didn't know about masters at the time, okay? And I wrote the checks. I've always done, anytime I've ever been in the studio, all these years doing studio work, I've always written the check. It's a contracted musician. I've never had release forms. I've never done any of that.
Yeah.
Okay? So all this is really new, and I've never known about sync. So keep that in mind. So now I'm in a situation where I really feel strongly that not only do I want the stems, and I really need to get a receipt from them. So one of the musicians, I had him sign a receipt. I put it together and it said something, and this might help you too, Nicole. It was something like, yeah, I did this, I made this amount of money, and I was a contracted musician, work for hire. So I had one of the musicians sign that, no problem. Now I've got the engineer, and he was the drummer. And so finally, he's gonna sign that. So this, I think, do I have this right? This would cover me because it's a work for hire. There's nothing about master in it. There's nothing like that at all.
It's fine. I mean, honestly, like I think plain spoken agreements are fairly legally valid, you know.
But you know, you never know. And this is the same person I'm talking about who's no longer doing this. And I just kind of felt really alarmed a little bit. You know, my executive producer went, "Oh my God, don't tell me we're gonna have a problem if this does get you know, you're saying you're one stop, but you don't have any agreements with these two guys. So I created the receipt, and it doesn't seem like it's going to be a problem at all, but you just never know. But I wanted to know, does something like that work?
First off, I mean, is that a clear understanding that you have with them that you own the master? Is that a clear understanding?
Well, we never talked about it.
Well, that's an understanding that you absolutely have to have before sending your stuff out to sync people.
So even with a receipt like that, that doesn't cover me?
Well, I would say if you haven't had a conversation with somebody about like what the master ownership is, it would be it'd be a little reckless to go out and pitch it as if it was one stop, because you don't actually have the understanding with somebody. Like there's a difference between not having, so say for example, I have lots of songs in my library where I work with people that I know they're in the sync industry. I know that they're down for pitching, and I know that they're on the same page with me as far as like doing stuff one stop, because we've all been kind of learning together how to do this. So I don't have any doubt that when I go out and I send that song around, even though I don't have a written contract for a particular song, I already know for a fact that it's going to be one stop. I know nobody's going to have any issue with me getting whatever I can with it. And there's no problem. If you haven't had that discussion with the engineer or producer, it's something that, like, especially folks that are kind of old school, I've found, they can get really like defensive about it sometimes. I'm not saying this is going to happen in your situation, but I've certainly heard of situations where somebody's like, oh, well, I actually own all the master. Like, I mean, and I'm not going to say that's going to happen with you, but like, I've even heard of situations like nightmare kind of scenarios like that, where, you know, you might have thought that you were owning 100% of the master, but their understanding of it was completely different.
Right.
And so if you don't have that like concrete, like at least verbal understanding, it's a conversation you definitely need to have, even if it's awkward, because what you're going to do is you're going to put yourself in a really bad spot if you end up finding out that you're not actually one stop. I would say it's probably the thing that's going to blacklist you more than anything is like having something like this pop up. You know, where like somebody agrees to use a song and then they find out that what you told them is not 100% the truth. So
in this case, they were not the writers.
Yeah.
So I have it on the receipt that they were work for hire.
Yeah. I mean, if it's work for hire, you should own all the master, but,
right.
So
you know, that's what I'm saying. Like that receipt, because they didn't write it. They didn't really produce it. So I have one of the there were only two musicians because we built the song.
Yeah.
So one has already signed that, and
Okay.
the engineer, I assumed that I had the master. I didn't know any of this, right?
So the engineer, it says on the receipt, it's work for hire.
Yes.
The engineer signed, or?
I'm going to have him sign it, yes. And he's willing to sign it. And it says, I made certain amount of money and I was the contracted musician.
Okay. Yeah, I would put work for hire, master.
Contracted musician, work for engineer, work for hire.
Yeah, I would put work for hire, master is fully released to Chandra, you know, or what, like your full legal name.
So that would be for the engineer is the most important one, because the guitarist, he doesn't, you know, we're really good friends.
Yeah, the guitar. It doesn't sound like the guitarist is going to have any issue with you using the song.
But I should add that in.
To what? To the engineer?
I should add.
I would just put like I would put work for hire, maybe in parentheses, like master is fully cleared to Chandra, like your legal name.
Perfect.
You know?
Thank you for
that. You know.
Yeah, master's fully cleared. Got it. That's like excellent. Thank you. That's really been my biggest thing. Also, if we don't get something in on time, because now I'm kind of like starting from scratch. I am talking to Chris Bradley about some of the collaborations I'm doing with people here, like Caroline Moore, love her, and Adam. Love you. And so if we don't get that done, is that like I get an F or something?
There's no grades. So it's like, even though I want to say that there's like when I give the feedback, there's like number grades and things like that. I'm actually thinking of just completely taking those out, because like, I don't feel like it was never my idea to do the number grading system to begin with.
Okay,
and
cool.
I've just kind of been doing it, but like, I feel like it's only moderately helpful in like kind of saying and like where things are. It's like only having 5 stars is like it's just really, there's no gray area. It's just
It's like,
really-
because I've just been working, I've been performing, and I've been writing on other projects, and it's like I just have not had, and then to have that happen, it was like, oh man. So all plans going a different direction, you know, with someone else who's new, and you know how that is. You got to find the vibe and feel like you can trust them and they can hear you and all that. So if we don't get it in by the end of February, or you know, whenever, end of January, I just want you to know I've been diligent on all of this.
cool.
Everything
You know,
you're doing.
I think, you know, what people get out of this is what they get out of this. And I think anybody who doesn't finish finish their EP by the deadline, it doesn't mean you failed. It just means that you need to continue the work, you know? Because
get it done.
Because what we're suggesting is a really strong course of action that you can take in terms of putting together a cohesive collection, which is the smallest kind of collection that people would consider as an EP of songs that are kind of related, marketable genre, kind of similar vibe. Say, this is me, this is who I am, this is like, these are the kinds of songs that I'm like marketing myself as, and being able to go confidently out there with it. That's the whole goal of the assignments that we give in this course, is to really arm you with that branding package that you can go out with. So, you know, whether you finish that, like, you know, in the course time, or you finish that like a month or two from now, or even like 6 months from now, that's fine. We're not going to grade you. Like, we're not going to say you failed the course. We don't give diplomas out. You know, that's not what we do here.
Yeah, thanks. Because, you know, it's like you go like, oh my God, I'm going to fail this, you know. No, I've got a whole bunch of things going on in the same direction you're talking about. So I'm real excited about it. Everything's good.
Cool. Great.
Thank you.
And,
Thank you.
yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. Thanks for the questions. And the one thing I would add to that is, it's like, and I know that there's some people who get frustrated, and I know that there's some people that they're like, I'm having a hard time doing this and all that stuff. And I would just say to you, it's like, it's that mentality of like perfectionism, and I gotta do this perfectly the first time. And why didn't I do it perfectly the first time? Why didn't I get the A++ and the 5 stars and all that stuff? And the thing I would say to you is, like, you gotta keep going. You gotta keep putting one foot in front of the other. And, you know, if something wasn't working, you can always pivot directions. You can always work with new producers, work with new writers, try to do different style of music. These are things that we've shown you the process that you can go through, identify like marketable references that you can then kind of write in the style of, and create a producing team that can nail the vibe of the production on that. And then you build a little branding package for it, and you're good to go. So, you know, for anybody who's like struggling with this, and they're, you know, some of it, I also find it's like some people, they try once, and then it's really hard to just like, you know, try again. But you got to try, because like, I think it's great that people like Chandra, you know, even if they aren't like doing all the assignments on time, you can tell they're really putting in the work and asking the right questions. And those are the folks, in my experience with this, that are going to land syncs and are going to just do well in the music industry in general. Is like, you just have to keep going. You have to keep going. Sam, I see you nodding a lot, man. How are you doing? You want to chime in? Can you chime in?
Yeah, what's up, everyone? Woo! Yeah, I will be there at the Sync Keepers event, so come, you know, high five or hugs or all that good stuff. So I'm excited about it. Yeah, all great stuff here. I love these things. It's just, and probably I'm nodding my head so much because I think everything John's throwing at you guys is so on point. And I did this whole thing, what you just did, gosh, is it 3 years ago now? I'm like losing track of time. And probably all the same stuff. There were times where there was a deadline for something and I was like trying to stay up all night and, you know, finish it off. And, you know, when you're trying to hit the submit button and it's like 5 minutes left and it's sitting there uploading because your internet's not fast enough. And trust me, I've been there and stuff. But again, like what John's saying is, it's just the process. And they say a great advice is, it's like a marathon. It's just not a race. And if I had $1 for every time I submitted a song and it didn't get picked, I'd be very rich. Yeah. So sometimes it's submitting over and over and over and over again. And then you just don't know like how stuff lands. That's what's so crazy too. John and I had a song in a Lifetime movie. That was one of my first sync of something that I co-wrote and co-produced that was on television. And so, yeah, that was so fun. John and I were just like, John had already had like Starbucks ad and stuff like that. But, and actually prior to that, my whole story is that I worked with a bunch of great artists as an engineer and a mixer, and they were getting stuff on TV and movies and car commercials and stuff like that. But I wasn't a writer, and I didn't own any of the master because I was work for hire. So all this stuff you're talking about, for me, it really resonates because I've now kind of been on like both sides of that. Now, most of all the producing I do has some kind of monetary exchange, and I try to own part of the master and the writing if I can, just because I'm pitching too. So, and you'll find that you'll start to find people that understand this whole wheel and process, and it almost seems like kind of a bubble. Not a bubble is not the right word. It's like a group. There's a lot of people running in the same direction. You're like all like kind of jogging together. So if you can kind of find that tribe and that group and start to run with them, then I don't know. You just make connections and stuff starts to happen. I pitched 4 songs to major. I could probably even say I pitched 4 songs in the last 48 hours to Dell, to Calvin Klein, to one that makes skin aging cream, Modell or something like that, and to cruise line, Caribbean cruise line, all through a guy that I met at one of the Sync Keepers events. And I went up afterwards and talked to him, and we kind of like hit it off and got to chatting. But I'm only giving you this, kind of advice and stuff here, just because help maybe sink in a little bit that relationship took 2 or 3 years, at least 2.5 years before he sent me an email saying, I'm going to have you sign an NDA, a non-disclosure agreement, so that they could send me these briefs, and even I think they're going to be able to send me ads that have no music to it, and I can score and write to them. But that was like 2.5 years of every other month sending him stuff and keeping him in the loop. This is going to sound horrible. You're going to think I'm such a schmoozer, but I figured out that he's a big fan of Father John Misty. And my buddy's the drummer for Father John Misty. So I had my buddy, the drummer, get like a little tour thing autographed and sent it to the guy who, and Kathy talks about that too. Kathy used to take Starbucks, to people and stuff like that. So I was playing the schmoozing game a little bit. But, in the end, now I'm getting these briefs like sent directly to me, not through anyone else. And I can just pitch songs of my own will, and we'll see like if some of those land coming up, but it's fun, but I know tip top schmoozing. It's fun, but John can attest to this too. It takes a while. It takes kind of like this, like long distance run and starting to run with other people and keep, tweaking your process to get those songs to just, kind of fit what they're looking for and stuff like that. So anyways, I'm done.
I think it's all solid, man. That's all. Like
seeing you guys all at the Sync Keepers event.
Oh yeah. Sam's gonna be there. He's gonna be on one of the panels. It'll be a lot of fun. And Sam's. I don't know. Sam's like one of the hardest working, kindest guys I know. And it's no surprise to me that he has this kind of stuff going on, because he's literally just like, I think in a way, like the way that it makes it so easy for people to work with Sam is that Sam is like very open to what they actually need. And he's like really like, obviously he's delivering that, and people see what can happen is once you start to build these relationships and you kind of prove yourself over time, they can be like, oh, this person, they definitely are like sending me stuff that's like relevant, and they're sending me new stuff like kind of constantly. It's not like a one time, like, here's my song. It's like you're sending updates. You're a working, active producer, writer. it's like that alone, along with like, you know, however you can make a personal connection with somebody obviously helps a lot. But that in conjunction with like doing the work and kind of proving yourself, it can make a huge difference in terms of like the opportunities that are afforded to you. And who knows what that contact could end up landing you, you know, hopefully Sam and I got a bunch of songs together. Hopefully it lands us both something. So that's the other thing I want to talk about is that like, when one person kind of climbs up the ladder, so to speak, all the people in your network also kind of start to climb up the ladder a little bit. And so in that way, the people that you're running with, if you think of like the movie Forrest Gump, actually that scene where the thing where you're talking about like running together, it's kind of reminds me of like Forrest when he just starts like running across the country, and then there's like people that are kind of following along with him. It's like, if you think about like this as like, you're just, you know, who are the folks that you're running with, you're all kind of like going along the same path, but you're kind of rising in elevation too. So, and at any point, like somebody's going to make they're going to make a big leap. I've seen it like where like somebody might not have anything going on, then they make some contacts. But the thing is, like, as your kind of network rises up, then the opportunities that are afforded like the entire network kind of rise up with that as well. So you'll get roped in, you know, people will rope me in on this or they'll rope me in on that. And the thing happens with Sam all the time, happens with like lots of other folks that I work with regularly too, just because you get known for having like certain gifts in the process, and they're like, oh yeah, I need this and this. I know that John, I know I got to get him in on this. And, or I'm like, oh, I know Chris Bradley could really kill this. So I hit her up or something like that. So it's like, that's really how this whole thing can work. And you all are practicing that kind of from the ground floor. Now, some of you are already like a little bit further ahead in the game, and that's great too, because that like actually affords some of the folks that you have the opportunity to collaborate with some of the like undiscovered talent that is like starting to get this game as well. But it's just like, it's so fun to see like how everybody's working together, because I know that that's like kind of where I came up from. I know that's where Sam came up from. I can probably mention like at least another dozen people where it was like a similar type of situation. And, but you know, it's just, it's exciting to consider like where you're all coming from. Hey, Scotty, I see you there. Are you on the call right now? Can you pipe in?
Yeah, I'm here.
Hey, what's up, dude?
Yeah, I came at the perfect time. Hey, Sam. God, yeah, what a great thing to talk about, and especially so close to Sync Keepers. Yeah, I'm sure you probably already got the how many people raise their hands that are going, because that was a game changer for me.
Are you? Can you turn your volume up just a hair?
Yeah.
If it's possible. It just seemed like you were just a hair quiet.
Okay, stand by.
All good. Yeah, because I know I could barely hear you, and I was assuming that was the same for everybody.
Hello. Hello. Better?
It's a little better. Yeah.
I'm gonna switch. This is that dang thing I go through every week, and I don't want to waste all your time. So hang on.
Oh, all good.
Okay.
I mean, it's like a minute out of an hour and a half, so it's going to be fine.
Yeah, this is going to be the highlight. Hey, can you hear this better now?
Yeah, it's about the same, but you know, I mean, I can hear you. It's just a little quiet.
I wonder why it's doing that. Okay, yeah, I'm. All right. I will yell.
It's going to be more energetic, man.
Yeah. I'll figure it out. But yeah, anyhow, I hope to see so many of you. I'm sure that you guys have already talked about it. But it's such magic. I've used the analogy before that it's like Kathy and everybody here with TTM sprinkling a little fairy dust on your careers. Just make good use of it, and just say hi to everybody that you've been working with. Say hi to all of us. Get connected, and yeah, just start watching your careers, you know, blossom as you continue this journey. It's so special. It's so special. Hope you heard all that.
I did. I'm just answering a question that's in the chat, man. Yeah, I parrot everything that Scotty says there. in terms of it's really your opportunity to connect with each other and connect with the folks that are up on the stage, and it's going to be great. So yeah, man. Anyways, good to see you. And I think I want to just as far as like the Sync Keepers schedule, because I'll just answer this over the video since you know I see it in the chat here a couple times. The schedule for Sync Keepers is 9 to 5. Both days, and we don't have the breakdown ready to share with you all yet, but trust me, it's going to be great. There's going to be an hour-and-a-half lunch, so there's going to be time for you to wander around and grab some lunch with folks, but it's going to be 9 to 5 both days, so you can plan on that. And just kind of trust that that's going to be like, you're going to want to be there the whole time. It's not going to be a thing where you're like, oh, what stuff do I want to check out? What do I not want to check out? You're going to want to be there the whole time. Trust me. Let's see. Any other questions? Oh, I see you there, Daniel. What's up, man?
Hey, how's it going, guys?
I'm great. Thank you.
Thanks. This whole community has just been like so awesome having this group of like you were saying, like it's like running a marathon together, and it's like I feel like we all entered this together, and we're all kind of like doing these things as we go, and we're all now everyone's probably had collaborations and is dealing with different collaborations, and which is why everyone's in the stage of talking about contracts now, from learning from their lessons a little bit. And I think that's a big thing too, is the contracts, having all the contracts ready. Like Scotty had mentioned, I remember like very early on in this, that how every time that he goes into a session, he does work for hires. He just has them like ready to go. And now that resonates with everyone a little bit more, I think, after having a bit more of experience with collaborating and getting to this level. Excited to see everybody at Sync Keepers too. This is going to be super fun. And my question, I had a couple questions about I'm a producer, as I write songs and sing and play many instruments, but I also am producing out of my living room, which is great because it's a home studio, but I also still have a roommate who walks in and out and stuff like that. So it's like, I kind of had a question as far as like production studios. Like I do have like affordable rehearsal studios that I can go to and just bring my own setup to record everything. Okay. And just do like some vocal tracking there. But I know that there are other production studios that have different arrangements. Like I would imagine Death Star probably has something like this, where you have like maybe a day or two a week or something. Different people, maybe not Death Star, but I know other studios that are like that have like you pay a certain amount a month, and you have like maybe 1 or 2 days a week to do like 6 or 8 hours or something like that.
It's like some kind of timeshare kind of thing.
Kind of.
There's certainly studios that do that. We don't really do that so much, but we've got like there's like 3 of us that mostly share the space. Mm-hmm. Occasionally somebody will come in for a day or something like that, but it's for the most part that's like kind of a dedicated space for the most part between like the 3 of us that rotate. But yeah, there's all kinds of situations. You can day rates. A lot of studios they're not tied to specific producers. So some of the bigger ones, you basically like hire it out. It's a day rate. Some of the smaller ones as well, you just want to make sure that when you go in, you kind of know what it is that you're dealing with, in terms of like the technology. You got to make sure you understand the equipment that they have. They might give you a tour of it, but a lot of places that rent out by the day or something like that are going to kind of assume that you know how studios work. They're not going to have an engineer handy. They might, but the engineer will probably cost you more. So that's the thing I would say. If the times that I've booked out a studio for like a day rate or a week rate or something like that, it's been you have to kind of figure that all out ahead of time and make sure that you have all the stuff that you need in order to get the job done.
Right. And that all becomes part of your production cost as far as like recoupable expenses, or at least things that you need to pay.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's all like, the thing is, this is all like, as far as business expenses go, it's part of your business, part of your livelihood for sure. You're going to be able to get write-offs on this kind of stuff.
Right. I mean, I track vocals here all the time. Like I actually have a mic here, and it's totally doable. And they sound great. It's just the occasional interruptions that are just a little less professional. So I can't charge like really great production prices if I'm going to have somebody dealing with these little.
Well, and that's the thing too, is like when you start to bring in artists that are of a higher caliber, they're going to have certain expectations as to, because they've probably been to studios that where they don't have like these types of interruptions. And there's also, I will say, there's something that's really, when I started having my own space where there wasn't constant distractions going on, it was really helpful because I was able to focus better on the job, and there's a certain anxiety that's not present when you don't have, like, you don't know when that airplane's going to fly overhead if you're near an airport, or you don't know when somebody down the hall in the rehearsal lockout that you're running out of is going to slam a door or something like that while you're trying to track this really intimate acoustic part. So I think as far as like, ideally that's where you want to get to as a producer, is having like a dedicated space. But, you know, I say that having been in your situation, like plenty of times, you know, there were years where I was kind of figuring this all out as I was dealing also with like environmental stuff that was kind of out of my control. So, so it's possible to get that work done. You just have to, sometimes you have to put more work in. It just takes longer sometimes, and you just kind of have to deal with the emotions of it. Like the emotions of like having a really good take kind of ruined by something can be a little upsetting sometimes, especially if it's like a tough part. There's some times where it's like, oh my God, if I had been in the old place that I was recording in, I maybe would have do like 10 vocal takes on something and maybe got one that was usable. And if that take had like some kind of weird noise in the background, who knows, maybe it would have worked out fine. But I think that like, it's also not something worth like worrying too much about, as long as it's not getting in the way of your creative flow. If it's not really affecting like the quality of your recording, nobody's going to know where you recorded it anyways. So it all has to be kind of, all this stuff that I'm talking about has to be taken into account. Like, what's your budget? Like, you know, what can you swing? You know, if you can't afford to hire out a studio for a project, then, you know, don't do it. But
right.
Sounds like you got a situation there that you can get work done in, though.
Well, for the most part, yeah, it's not really an issue at all. In fact, most of the instruments, if I'm tracking guitar or bass, I'm going direct in. A lot of things I'm doing with MIDI. Even a lot of the vocal takes, if I'm doing them myself, like I don't care how many takes it takes to get, because I'm doing it myself. But when I have somebody that I'm recording, most of the time it doesn't matter. Most of the time we'll get it in a few takes or whatever. But there is the occasional garbage truck coming by or whatever, you know, like whatever bullcrap is going on. And just those little things keep me from being able to like feel really professional about it, you know? And I want to be really professional about it because I want to be able to like collaborate with better and better people all the time. And I want them to take it professionally too.
You could also look to like,
right.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off there.
No, it's okay. I just saw she said there's always a freaking leaf blower, and that's so true.
I mean, it might even be worth for you to kind of, where are you located?
I'm in Glendale.
Oh, like LA?
Yeah.
Glendale? Oh, well, there's so many people probably in situations, studios where you could, I mean, it might be worth your time to like just kind of find some other producers and co-produce with them. And I mean, that's kind of how I found a couple of the situations that I was in, was just by meeting different people. And you might find that situation where, you know, there's a place that if you want to track something that's intimate and you don't want to like, you know, have a leaf blower going through, just by building some relationships with some producers who work in spaces that you might want to work in. So you could even go hunting. I mean, heck, I'd even say like Craigslist would be a good place to check, because people are constantly posting there. People are like, actually, I bet if you like put a post up just on Make Pop Music saying like, hey, I'm looking to check out some studios in the Glendale area. You don't have to be really serious about like booking studio time to say like, hey, I'm curious and would like to, for some projects that I have coming up that may have the budget for it. I'd like to see what my options are. You know, just start like kind of having it in a way. It's kind of like you're aspiring for like the situations that you want to have happen. In a way, there's a certain like I think kind of faking it until you make it I was in a band lockout space for a couple of years, and I learned a lot about everything that you're talking about in terms of like dealing with the noise and dealing with the emotions of like how to get something sounding professional in like not an ideal space. But I was always kind of gunning to get out of there as well, because I knew that my growth as a producer was going to be kind of stunted by just the situation that I was in. So I was every 6 months or so, I would end up like posting, saying like, hey, are there any openings? Anybody looking to share their space, you know? And you'd be surprised sometimes just even in your own network. I ended up just like doing that a couple times. The first time I kind of got crickets. The second time I had like a couple people hit me up, and then my manager was just like, hey, dude, you wanna just like start working at the Death Star in the evenings and on the weekends? And it ended up like working out perfect for me. So, you know, but you'll find your situation as you continue to grow as a producer. But I would say you gotta kind of start like setting your sights to where you want to go with it, and just start taking action, you know, start asking around. And as your budgets, as like what you're able to afford kind of rises, then it might make it financially possible. But I think you should start planting the seed and looking around as soon as you can. I mean, everything takes time, but I'm sure there's some amazing like up and coming studios or just like really great established studios in the Glendale area that you could check out.
Yeah, there are actually like it's funny, there right on my block. I live right off of Victory Boulevard, and like walking distance from here, there's like 4 recording studios. But it's cool, and I've actually even gone to check them out and stuff. But some of them are like mostly day rate, so they want like $300 a day or whatever.
Yeah.
So it just depends on if I am working on a project or a couple of songs. Like maybe I can do everything else here, and we can like really prep everything till we're like ready to go. And then we go there and we book it for like one day and track everything that we need for that one day, if possible. That's kind of where I'm at right now. I'm just trying to look for, I just wanted to know your thoughts on the whole situation. If you knew of any other like good situations, and if anybody on here like knows anybody, like please reach out to me.
Yeah, I would say that the good situations are going to start coming the moment that you just start like putting it out there that you're looking for cool spaces, you know, and start doing some of the research. I don't really know too much about like studios that are out that direction, so I don't have much to chime in myself on that. But hopefully what I've said is a little helpful with this.
Yes, very much. Thank you very much. I appreciate it, and I look forward to seeing Death Star.
That'll be fun. Yeah. You gotta stop by sometime. I didn't know you were in LA. Great.
Yes, definitely. That'd be great. I loved your article, by the way. That was awesome.
Thanks. Yeah, that was really fun. I did this interview with Voyage LA. I think Scotty did as well. Didn't you have one? You had like a write up. I think you just sent it to me.
I did. I'll post that to the group. Yeah. Yeah, it was perfect timing, because I almost wish I can go back and rewrite it, because it was at the tail end when I was sick, and they really wanted me to do it. And I said, well, I don't really have anything going right now. I've just been out of it for the last year. I was literally going through my chemo and all that. But it was really cool. It was very cool how they conducted it and how they put it together. So I'll post that. It's not, I don't want to trump John. I'm going to give him a few days of his glory with his article, and then I'll.
I don't care. My article is going to be up there. Anybody can check it out if they want to. I'm not an egotist about any of that. So it's just.
Well, the cool thing is that what they're doing is they're recognizing guys like you, and I got the referral from my wife because she's doing so well in stunts, and so they're really trying to boost the image of these local artists like you, me, everybody on here. And it's so cool how they're doing that. We don't have too many things in LA to be happy about being a musician. We're all fighting each other, and we don't get groups like this where we get to come together and share all our knowledge and try to help each other out. So the fact that these guys are doing this is so cool, and they're so willing to just reach out to the people that are even getting the littlest bit of success, and you're doing great. So I'm sure I can't wait to read the article. I can't. I'm jonesing. I've just been busy since 7 o'clock this morning, but I'm going to read it.
Fun. Awesome, man. Yeah. I think it's, I agree. I think it's great what they're doing. It's all like kind of referral based what they're doing. So they're basically like the talent that's rising up. People are just referring each other, and it's great. Like I've got a bunch of friends who have people that have been approached by them, and also just people that have done it. And so yeah, it's cool. It's exciting to kind of get a little bit of press around like just kind of the stuff that I've done in terms of producing and stuff. It's just one of those like little growth things. I'm gonna get like a printed
Absolutely.
version, put it up at the studio. It's gonna be great. Hopefully the start of many more to come. I've done tons of interviews already. It's fun. It's really important to do. I feel like, you know, the more you kind of put yourself out there. I think it's no different than like what Kathy and I teach in terms of like the kind of the ongoing like outreach to people and the networking that you're doing. It's like the marketing side of things. It's like you got to be open to talking with people about like your process and just kind of like your journey. And I feel like that's because people you realize you can do a bunch of work and then realize you have a very interesting story and an interesting way that you got to the place that you're at. And if you're not sharing that with the world, that might be another way that somebody finds you that you can have like some kind of win-win situation with. So
Absolutely.
I think it's good.
Yeah.
It's good.
Hey, can I add something to Daniel's thing? Do you mind if I?
No, I don't mind.
Hey, so really quick, I know you were talking about some of the limitations you have, but has anybody mentioned like some of the ways you can kill some of the mic noise? I've had a lot of success with those eyeballs. I have an Alctron. Is that what you have? Is that what you're about to get up and get?
I bought a foam one online. You can actually buy a foam ball on Amazon. It's like $25, and then you can kind of make your own eyeball out of it. You kind of gut it, and you like make your own eyeball. It's the same thing. I'm sure the eyeball is actually built better.
I think it's a different kind of foam, and I would, you know, the Alctron eyeball is expensive, but I've done a bunch of shootouts. I've gone on YouTube videos. And there are some people that think that there's a difference, but there's really not. And I admire the guys that are really going, yeah, you could spend $200 or $250 on an eyeball, but you can get this Alctron over here for $50. And I got 2 of them, and I can vouch for them. And what I like is they really here, I'll pull this off.
Yeah, please show me.
Okay, so they really shape this thing nice. Okay, so you've got the screen, the pop stopper, which you need.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I put my U87 in there. I don't know. Can you see that?
Yeah.
The sun hitting it?
Yeah, I can see it.
It's light in there. Okay. So, and then on the bottom, let's see. There's, it's really hard to see in my room.
Yeah, I could see that. It's got
the bottom there. So this is a hole right here that'll fit most condenser microphones, like everything from a TLM-103 or an NT1 Rode or anything like that.
Yeah.
But it's just a really solid foam. You're probably, if you're not having a lot of luck with the foam that you got from Amazon, you might want to just spend the extra $25 and try this. It's really well worth it. And for some reason, if you don't like it, there's a ton of cats that'll buy this from you. It won't be money wasted.
That's true.
You know what I mean? So
yeah,
give that a shot.
What's it called again?
This is here. It's the Alctron. Can you read that?
Alctron. Yeah.
God, why is it so hard to see in my room? Alctron PF8. There you go. So
awesome.
yeah, I just wanted to jump in and say that because and that's for everybody here. This is a game changer, especially if you're doing vocals in your studio. This, seriously, I've built studios. I've spent thousands of dollars. I'm going to save you the headache, the heartache, and everything right now. You spend $50 on this, it will be the best $50 of your life. It's amazing how well it works. I mean, it doesn't cut out, like if you live by an airport and you got, you know what I mean? If you have a train right next door to you, which I think in Glendale you might, You might be SOL, but for the most part, I've had really, really good luck. And some of these cats are taking their mobile rigs up to the canyons and stuff and showing them like, hey, this is me recording myself in a canyon, and it's actually really quite amazing. So that's as much as I'll spend on that topic, but that's I wanted to throw that in there.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your input. And I look forward to reading your article.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I'll post that. Yeah. Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Thanks, Scotty. Appreciate that, man.
Sure.
Great questions, Daniel. Hey, what's up? What's up, Adam? Let me see if I can. I can't seem to unmute you.
Adam.
There we go.
There
How
we
you
go.
doing?
Hi, how's it going, everyone?
Good.
Good to hear you all. Yeah, this call is like a party today. Like some of the calls aren't as awesome as this, but I just definitely wanted to chime in. Just like a couple of my group members and one of my co-writers, like Chandra, and then Ben is one of my group members, and then just like Scotty. And then Sam, good to see y'all. And Daniel, I haven't really talked to you much, but yeah, definitely look forward to meeting everyone at St. Keepers. I was just curious, what time is that band on the 6th? Do you know what time the band is?
They're going on before lunch, so I do know that. Yeah.
Okay.
Is a band playing at St. Keepers?
Yeah. It's I'm it's like 99.9% sure it's happening. So I don't think it's gonna like ruin anything by saying it's gonna be the Rescues and Distant Cousins.
Cool.
Okay.
Both of whom have been like wildly successful in sync. I mean, I would argue that like I was saying, the producer, writer, who's a member of the Rescues she's a heavy hitter. Like she's a heavy hitter when it comes to producing licensing music and just like making like really good tracks. Like, I mean, she's an amazing producer. She's going to be there. Or no, she's not going to be at the St. Keepers thing, but they're playing a show that night at Hotel Cafe that I'm going to. And I hope many and many of you who are attending St. Keepers end up going to that show because you will have your mind blown.
Yeah, that was actually, what time does that start at?
Their show, I think, so Distant Cousin, I think Distant Cousins goes on at 8, and then Rescues go on afterwards. So yeah, it's gonna be like 8, and then 9 o'clock, I think. Yeah, cool. They're really good.
Cool. Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out the scheduling for those couple days. So thanks for letting me know.
There's plenty of time to like grab dinner and then mosey over there.
Cool.
I think it should be plenty of time for that.
That's Thursday then, yeah?
That's the Thursday.
Okay.
And I think the Rescues play also on the Friday, but I'm probably not going to go to that. I'm probably going to I may like have like an open I've been thinking about it. I may have like on the Friday I might open up just kind of have the Death Star just be over there, hang out for a couple hours that evening, and then figure out what's what if I'm doing anything else that night. Just because so many people have asked about coming by to check out the Death Star. But yeah, you know.
Cool. Well, yeah, I'm coming in a day early and I'm staying till Sunday. So I've got a few extra days for kind of meet people. Maybe I'll stop by Death Star or like co-writes. So yeah, I'm super excited. It's actually my first time ever in LA. So
fun.
Oh, cool.
And it was so great meeting you at the NAMM thing.
Yeah.
Super cool.
Yeah, likewise. Hey, and I want to add that Adam is exactly what he's setting a great example for everybody. I know part of this course, the hard part is kind of getting out and being vocal. I was painfully shy. Y'all believe that? Like, I used to be painfully shy to a detriment, and it really, really screwed with my career. And you don't have to worry. You guys can come say hi to me. We might be really busy at St. Keepers, but we're all available. And what I love is that Adam, and even when I met Christina, like everybody that shows up, that we're going to get that time to hang, and you're going to meet your cohorts, and it's just going to just grow this circle. I mean, right now is the best time to get into sync because, you know, it's going to get saturated at some point. I mean, we're still going to keep, you know, teaching and meeting people and growing our circles. But right now is such a great time to do this. We got St. Keepers coming up, and Adam I'm just going to give you props, brother, because you've really been vocal. You reach out in just the right way. You're not obtrusive. You know, you say hi, and you know, you showed up at NAMM and you made that little small effort to like, hey, can we connect for a minute? And it was awesome. Like, that's how to do it. And that's how to do it with music supervisors. That's how to do it, you know, with anybody with CTM, with any of the cohorts. So hats off, my brother. Yeah, I can't wait to see you.
Thank you so much. And yeah, right back at you, Scotty. You're just like such a kind presence and like approachable person. So yeah, keep being awesome. And just kind of like echo what Sam said about just like kind of finding like a tribe and kind of trying to like go along, like jump in the river with them. And I'm just super glad to be part of this with all you guys. And I hope this is like a long-term thing in my life. So yeah.
Oh yeah, it is.
Cheers, guys.
Absolutely, man. Love hearing from you. Yeah, you know, Adam is like one of the nicest guys. I remember when I showed up at NAMM, this is the kind of person Adam is. Like, he and Christina were wandering the floor, and they're like, "Where are you?" Like they literally found me, and they brought me like hot water. It is like the sweetest thing. Brought me like hot water, and he brought like 3 different kinds of tea, and asked me like what kind of tea I wanted. It was just the sweetest thing. But it's like, these are the things that we remember. I mean, I just think like as a human being, it's like, what a kind gesture. And that kind of stuff does not get lost on people. I will never forget that. It's like, you know, it was just like such, and then we got a chance to like, oh, hey, great to meet in person. And then we took like this fun photo in front of like this huge like metal distortion pedal that was in the Roland booth. And I wish I'd had more time to wander around with you. I know you were checking out a bunch of workshops and stuff, but
I just got to add to that, because we wandered around for like 2 days, and every water fountain place that, or like those like Culligan jugs, I don't know if you call them that in the States, but those big jugs of water, every one of those, you know how there's a hot and a cold tap? Well, the hot tap was not connected on every single one of those. And right before I met you, I like tried the hot tap on a new one, and it worked, and it had hot water, and I was like, yes! I had 2 bags in my pocket from the Hilton.
Oh, that's a great story. I love it. So cool. This is going to be an amazing experience. Trust me, everybody. Lois, let's see. I mean, we're almost out of time here. Lois, do you have something else you wanted to ask?
I do. Can you hear me?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Just a very quick question. I was just reading your list about the submission for the 3rd song. Because I've got 2, you mentioned it must be streamable. Dropbox is okay?
As long as we can click on it and it's easy to stream, it's fine. Yeah.
So do you want, like, if I put 2 songs in a folder, would you prefer the folder or the individual songs?
I don't think it really matters, as long as it really doesn't matter, as long as at the end of the day, all I have to do is click on it, press play, and it works. What doesn't work is sometimes people will post in a link that is just a broken link from their desktop or something like that. Yeah. You know, the other common one is like sharing a SoundCloud link that's actually a private link that doesn't have the right access permissions set. So anybody who isn't logged into that specific SoundCloud account can't actually access it. So you just want to make sure that it's public, like anybody from any browser, if they have the link, can open it up, click on it, press play, and it's good to go.
Yeah, okay. Now, I've used Dropbox before and you haven't had a problem, but I just wanted to
be fine. Yeah, I mean, I haven't noticed like Dropbox being a problem, but you know, just make sure that it's set to the right permissions and it should be good.
Yep, good as gold. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome, of course. So we're definitely. Hey, John, I see you there. Let's get you real quick here. You got something real quick?
Yeah, it's pertinent to what's coming up with Sync Keepers.
Sure.
I just want to say, really looking forward to meeting you in person. Definitely going to be out there.
Likewise.
And just looking forward to getting to see everybody. Hey, for the submissions for actually what's going to be played for the panels at Sync Keepers, have you guys put up a link for that yet? Or how do we go about submitting songs to actually be reviewed at Sync Keepers?
I believe the link's already been sent out via email. That's what I was told, was that it was emailed out, but I'm not 100% certain on that.
Could you double check on that and maybe get it up in announcements or up on the Six Figure Songwriting page, actually? Because I know some of the emails tend to fall through the cracks for people. I don't think I've got it.
The one thing that I know that they're a little hesitant about just sharing with the entire group is not everybody in the group is going to Sync Keepers, and we want to make sure that only attendees are submitting songs. So I think that might prevent us from posting it directly to the group, but I can check with them after the call here and see what they've done. I know that emails can sometimes go through the cracks, but unfortunately, it's one of those things where it's hard to. If you haven't gotten, I know that folks have been submitting music. I know there is music in there, and I can actually like really quick just go in and check and make sure that that's still the case.
Okay, I can message Elena too and see, you know, if she can resend the email to me or whatever too. So yeah. I just wanted to double check because I figured the window might be open already, and I definitely wanted to put a song or two in the queue to see if something might, you know, pop up.
Definitely have songs from the group people who are actually attending. So I'm under the assumption that like people are getting emails for this. Okay, yeah. So
Okay.
it does look like emails are going through to all the attendees. But if you didn't get the email for whatever reason, just hit up hello@catchthemoonmusic.com, and I'm sure they can send you the link.
Sounds good, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, you got it. Looking forward to meeting you. I'm looking forward to meeting everybody. It's been like a really fun office hours. Like Adam was saying, it feels a little bit of a party vibe here. Try to bring that every week, but it's just been a really like it's like Scotty said, it's like family. It's like we're a circle, and I feel like the more that we go on this journey, the stronger that kind of feeling gets. And I see it in like the way in which everybody's interacting with each other and continuing to be so supportive and encouraging. It's just I know that is going to make a huge difference. Just in terms of like where you're going with your music career, because it's just changed my life so much. I believe in that so strongly. So just keep doing what you're doing. I know we're going to have an office hours like right before Sync Keepers. So I'll see you next week. And for anybody who's sticking around, we're going to do as usual, we'll do the listening session here at 2:00, and looking forward to that as well. So otherwise, kick ass, have a great rest of your week, and look forward to seeing you here on the next call.
Yeah. Bye, everybody.
Oh yeah, and thank you so much, Scotty.
Yeah, of course.
Sorry, didn't mean to forget you.
No, you didn't. No, nobody does. It's all good.
Always love having you on the calls, and I know Sam had to peace out a little bit. He was teaching a class. Always appreciate him having him on the calls as well. And we'll just until next time. Have a good one.
Later, guys.